Welcome back to another episode of Love of Pages, the Geek Elite Media virtual book club podcast, where four fantastic friends get to sit around and torture each other, amuse each other with new book picks, all sorts of things. I'm Elizabeth, and as always, I am joined by the naturally beautiful Naimah.
Ooh.
The fantastic Jessica.
Hey.
And the stupendous Stephen.
It's me.
This week, after coming off our month of Sherlock Holmes, very serious.
Ooh.
Very serious. / slightly confusing with Stephen's last pick, but very confusing.
Keith's last pick.
To play the board game of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it.
We are lightening things up with Jessica's pick of a Nora Roberts romance novel, Catching Fire. So I will let her introduce the book here shortly, but before we get into that, because it is a book club, and I don't know how to attend a book club without a beverage in hand, we have our weekly cocktail, mocktail on Stephen's end. So, Naimah, you picked tonight's drink, so what are we drinking?
I did pick tonight's drink. I wanted it to go with the theme, and so we found a variety of fiery themed drinks, but tonight is Dark and Fiery, which sounds like the name of another book, and it is also probably the lightest drink for a title called Dark and Fiery.
This is true.
But it is. Yeah. I literally thought that looking at the ingredients, and I was like, why is this called Dark and Fiery? And then I read the directions, and I went, oh, I'm not doing that.
But I mean, I really wanted to do it, ran out of time, and didn't want to have to do the extra dishes. But for those of you listening who haven't caught on, you're supposed to light this on fire while making it.
No.
Wait, while
you're
making
supposed
it?
to light this on fire while making it.
Listen, practicing fire safety, and we have chosen not to light our drinks on fire.
Yeah.
It's what Gulliver would want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Stephen, what are you drinking this evening?
I put two things together in a cup this time. So I have Sprite.
I'm proud of you.
A cocktail.
Yeah, I have Sprite and then passion orange guava juice together.
Ooh,
With
that sounds
ice.
delicious.
Ooh.
That sounds wonderful.
And in case I run out of this, I also have a cherry Coke Zero next to me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, why don't you introduce us to your pick? Why'd you pick it?
Well, I was told to pick a nice romance. So I'll be doing a romance novel. And I read Nora Roberts books fairly regularly, and this book came out, I don't know, 10 issues? I don't know when it came out, but it came out years ago. Okay, so
They haven't made
8-ish years ago. Yeah. And I liked it because it's a smoke jumper book, and my father is a firefighter, and I've always found smoke jumpers really awesome and amazing, and to be able to find one that's like a contemporary romance with like a bit of mystery in it was like, which is one of the reasons why I like Nora Roberts as a writer, because she doesn't strictly do just straight romance. There's always other elements going on, at least. So fighting forest fires and falling in love. That's what I needed after Sherlock.
Yeah, I may have requested a romance novel, so we got something lighter as opposed to the usual Jessica's always wonderful picks of young adult or new adult that always seem to be very intense. World overthrow, some sort of dystopia.
Teenagers have dramatic insides. Their books have to match the drama.
Yeah.
I mean, I completely empathize and understand this, so I get it. I just needed something a little lighter.
I also will say,
There's like a crazy person on this.
I needed something a little light. Fire.
The one thing I will
Almost
point out, when this is coming out, for the people who will be hearing this, they will have heard the Sherlock stuff before, and then will be separated by a month with the Forever War, which was one of our other bleak listens. So,
oh god, that was bleak. I never thought we were ever going to publish that. I was like, oh,
forever to publish the Forever War.
It was our evergreen episode.
Mm.
So, with that, and I would still stand after the Forever War. I have been trying to figure out how we can get a light book in this loop, and we haven't been able to.
My next one, maybe.
Nobody does light books in this group, which is fair, knowing us.
Fun.
Yeah.
Eventually. It's just, books.
Yeah, I don't. Wait, no.
Like, to be fair, it's very hard to talk about a light book, though.
This is true.
I brought a book where, for fun, people like beat up mascots in a ring in South Africa, like for funsies, and they weren't hurt.
Light reading.
Okay, Down Days was not light.
Ghosts were involved. There was a pandemic while we were in the middle of a pandemic. This was not light reading, Stephen. Lies. The only light reading we've had would have been my buddy cop comedy with A New Hope.
This was
which everybody else seemed to summarily dislike.
No, I loved it. I'm buying the sequel.
Oh, goodness. But to your point, Jessica, in terms of Nora Roberts not being all about the sex, I think it's not until chapter 3, at least halfway through chapter 2, that we actually get introduced to our romantic male lead.
Our male goal.
Isn't it the whole first bit? Chapter 2, we're introduced to the guy, but then his entire conversation with that other guy is just like, yeah, look at that lady over there. And then he's like, hey, man, that's not right. But look at that lady over there.
Yeah, we talked about sex a lot. But can we just talk about the names of these characters? Because Rowan, wonderful name. Wonderful name. We're like, yes, let's give her a creative name. It's got a strong backing to it. She's got a strong personality. To describe her appearance, she sounds powerful.
Rowan is also a tree, by the way. That's
Gulliver. We named it after the pelican in Animal Crossing. I
mean, I was going with the Gulliver's Travels, but
yeah, I think Gulliver is more named after Gulliver who travels.
I know, but it still doesn't help because that's where my brain goes. That's the most recent Gulliver in my brain is an animal.
When did Animal Crossing come out?
Oh no, this one, it was like last year.
Yeah, this is a new character.
Yeah.
So Gulliver in the Animal Crossing is way newer.
Gulliver is named that because he washes up on a
Gulliver
beach.
Existed. Yeah. So what you're telling me is the people who make Animal Crossing love Nora Roberts.
Absolutely.
That's what you're telling me.
The whole preface of Animal Crossing is just Nora Roberts.
Yes.
Yes. Stephen, the look on your face is spectacular. You look so uncomfortable.
Correlation is indeed causation, you guys. You heard it here first.
Okay. Yeah, the name of male lead is questionable.
I mean, and you have Dobby.
Libby. It's a lot.
There's a lot of names.
We're going to meet the rest of the fire people. They're going to be like Bum Bum and Scooter. It's not going to be great, guys. It's not going to be great.
The number one is Matt. You do get Matt. Mm-hmm. Matt and Joe, the two brothers from Nebraska.
But everyone's got nicknames. Like you have Carl.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have, what is it, Trigger or something? Mm-hmm. Like all of them.
Cards, Trigger. One gets named Chainsaw.
What's the one that's Brooklyn, Russia? Like what's his name?
You have Southern.
Yeah.
They call
Rowan's name is Swede.
Yeah.
What's the other girl's name?
Fast Feet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Goals Fast Feet.
They went with like a 1940s like military set of nicknames. It's weird.
I gotta tell you,
One of the girls gets
still
named
pretty
Bart.
common today with my.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah.
It's just how these people are.
But so yeah, no, we got some weird names. But as far as things go, I liked the opening of the actual book when I got to it. That's a story for another part later on in this podcast. But I did like the opening of the stuff, the way they chose to actually introduce us to the people through the test thing, which I think is basically the same opening as the Shannara Chronicles TV show.
Never seen the Shannara Chronicles TV show, but I'd be interested, I guess.
It's fine.
Never seen
Haven't
it.
seen it either. Yeah.
So. But yes, no, the opening scene, we get introduced to our main character, Rowan. Although, to be fair, we switch between her perspective, Gulliver's perspective, and her father's perspective pretty frequently. So, well, we don't get to her father's perspective till
A little
later. Into the first section.
Which is
But-
adorable, honestly.
It's super cute. But we open with a death because I asked for something light. And so we have to start with somebody dying in a fire.
Little bit.
Yeah.
Like, you had to start off strong so you weren't like, oh, and then he dies. No, it's like, it happened. No, it's just light for the
Yeah, now we can move on. They said I had to have one
Like,
death.
There ends up with blood smearing on the walls. There's
blood. It's not like anyone died.
I mean, it didn't describe it. You just got that he landed in the wrong spot.
No, they
Listen,
basically
if
said
I-
he ended with.
as I heard him scream.
Yeah, that's the one.
Is the line.
He went into trees that were on fire, and the last thing she heard was a scream. And we're only experiencing this through her recurring nightmares.
Yeah, talk about something that will haunt you for the rest of your life. Especially if the girlfriend like brandished a knife at your face after being pregnant and she's like, you all killed him. And I'm like, how old is this woman? That is my question. How old is Dolly that she's like threatening people with a knife?
Not very
Hearing
old.
things blood on people's walls. I am hoping to God like 21.
It's like I'm getting confusing, like, oh, she's really young and like weirdly vengeful, but also she's talking like she's in her like 30s.
I don't know if there's a good age for that.
I don't think there's a good age for that anyway.
No.
I'm hoping we at least have the excuse of her prefrontal cortex not fully being developed yet. I'm hoping for this excuse. You know, that whole regulation of emotions.
Like she's still got pregnancy brain. I don't know how old her baby is in the course of this, but it's been some time. And so the baby's at least a couple months, I think, old. Yeah.
Well, they got to be because she remembers him dying like a little bit ago.
Oh, yeah.
But yes. So it opens with death through Rowan's nightmares, and then we jump right into the next summer's training camp, which occurs in the spring, where we get all the new recruits, including Gulliver. We go through the training, we get them introduced. Gulliver falls madly in love instantaneously because he's a helpless romantic, which he admits to. And then, of course, you know, the big bar scene where Rowan takes out the three guys, and then they take it out on Dobby, and then Gulliver comes in to rescue Dobby, because we have to show that both of our main characters have serious mad fighting skills.
It's not
They're
just
as tough as
Karate.
it's not just fires.
No.
so. And then we get a couple of the fire jumps.
Yep.
One exclusively from Rowan's perspective, the other from both their perspective. In between those two, we get the emergence of Dolly, who is the crazy lady.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have a crazy lady. It's just a guarantee, who Jim, Rowan's jump partner for the day on the day that he died last year, had been hooking up with, and who is claiming that she has had Jim's baby, and that Jim was super excited about it the morning that he died when she told him, which is, by all intents and purposes, from everybody else's account, pretty suspect. But she believes he was very excited. And she blames Rowan in particular, but all of the flight jumpers or all the fire jumpers, smoke jumpers, for his death. It's all their fault because they control the wind. It has nothing to do with the fact that it has nothing to do with the fact that Jim chose an inherently risky job.
And also went into it completely stressed out, jittery, and was like, yeah, this is fine. I'm fine. It's cool.
Yeah, I like his whole thing was like, yeah, no, it's cool. I got it. I'm going to go left. Uh-oh. Like, what, sir?
Yeah. So Dolly gets rehired because she was a base camp cook the summer before, and we find out that after Jim's death, unclear if she just brandished the knife at Rowan, if she managed to go chase Rowan with the knife, because apparently Marge, the head cook, took it from her very quickly. Because I picture Marge as like a Molly Weasley or a Madame Pomfrey, but like harder.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If we're
Like when they get angry, they're just like, nope.
Not my knife. No, but
Not
like,
gonna happen.
if we're talking about people that people look like, have any of you guys watched the show Crossing Jordan when that was on TV back in the day?
Yes.
I imagine Rowan being Jordan from the show, and then her dad being her dad. Brunette.
Rowan?
Oh,
I thought Rowan was
I thought you
blonde.
said the blonde. Sorry, not but blonde.
No.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I imagine her from this, and then her dad, the detective guy, as the dad. Seems like a person who would be cast in a romance novel or whatever like this. And then her dad.
Yeah, that seems right.
So this is a question that I do have. Sorry to interrupt, Elizabeth.
You're good.
Did you all imagine these characters to look like? Because for some reason, anytime I read romance novels, my brain immediately goes to which characters do I think are attractive purely from how my brain is processing what they're saying and what they would look like. You saying that her dad looks like possibly the dad from Crossing Jordan has just that bubble into an entire of tiny little unput together Humpty Dumpty type situational.
The actor is not handsome. He is not handsome.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, no.
No offense to whatever.
Iron Man Trip is handsome.
I picture Iron Man Trip as I
don't know the name. Dang it.
Yeah, that's the process I normally go through with all romance novels, because you're introduced to all these characters, and I think characters are like a big part.
Yeah, to me, I would think of Trip more as Rob Lowe.
I don't like that Rob Lowe is of an age now where we cast him as a full adult human's parent. I'm still in a spot where, like, mentally I'm like, oh yeah, like a Tom Selleck kind of age or something. But Tom Selleck is very old now too. Rob Lowe, older.
Oh yeah, Rob Lowe is cute. Yeah.
Rob Lowe is very handsome.
I would even do like today's Brad Pitt without any.
That is actually a possibility, because he's fallen very hard in looks. Tom Selleck I could get, but Tom Selleck to me is just
too old.
Oh yeah, no, he's very much too old now. Yeah.
But Tom Selleck in his prime was law enforcement dad. Like there's no way for him to get out of that stereotype. It's what he looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, the reason Rob Lowe came to mind is Rob Lowe's currently starring in 911 Lone Star, where he is the dad of another firefighter. He's the captain of the fire.
Okay.
And his full adult son is one of the paramedics in the firehouse. So I do associate that he is old enough to have a fully grown child.
I don't like this idea. Rob Lowe is still like baby Rob Lowe in my mind.
Oh no, definitely. Look at that. That's just
he doesn't seem old enough for this. But he is. It's just in my mind he's stuck in like West Wing days.
Brooding. Like, if the woman next to him was slightly younger, that could have been a good picture. No.
But yeah, no, yeah. Anyway,
And I guess Rowan would be Charlize Theron for me.
No. I
Okay.
could see that.
And then I feel like Gulliver, which probably because he has an arcade and is a little nerdy, Zachary Levi.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
Oh, that's good casting. Yeah.
I think for the other
Actually
one.
managed to cast something.
For the other one, the other like who's the name of the guy that was like, yeah, what about that girl over there?
Dobby?
Yeah.
The Irish guy?
I like, yeah, so he is Irish? Do they say that in there? Because I imagine him being redheaded.
I don't know if I can't remember if they say he's redheaded, but
No,
I'm pretty sure he's Irish.
He's Irish because they mentioned
Yes.
like he's ever been to Ireland and that whole conversation.
Yeah.
that conversation's with Gulliver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gulliver is Irish. But Dobby isn't described as a redhead or not. He's from Kansas. He is described as being very short.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of picture him kind of balding almost.
Well,
There's
like,
an
what is
actor I'm picturing, and I can't think of it.
what's
'cause
his
I'm
name?
really bad at names.
Who's the guy they just announced or showed? Naimah, one of the brothers from Supernatural. They're not short, but one of them looks way shorter than the other.
Ackles is 6'3".
He looks shorter. He looks way shorter than the other one. He just comes off shorter.
Jared Padalecki is like 6'6". That's why.
That's what I'm saying. Like on screen, he looks like he's like this, like maybe like 5'10" looking ass dude.
That's what I love about that show. Everyone they cast is over 5'11", or they wouldn't fit on the screen. I was perfect and I missed my shot. I was also like 12. So, but no, yeah, I liked the.
Or Dobby could be like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Like, I just feel like kind of on the shorter side, kind of petiter.
I could also see Gordon-Levitt being like Irish. I don't know why, but I could still see it.
He's a talented actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You do it. Yeah, I like it.
Rounds of yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Works.
Nora Roberts' book for her. You're welcome.
I just want to say while we're in this, I want to apologize to Naimah for being here, so she doesn't feel as comfortable. Maybe like fan casting who's the most handsome person or something. Like,
oh, I'm perfectly fine with it.
yeah.
I don't think that's Naimah's.
I happen to know Naimah thinks that Zachary Levi is very handsome, and she had a more restrained response to this when you cast him right now than I feel like she would have otherwise had.
Wait, do you love Zachary Levi?
He's very attractive.
I love him. I love him so much. He's like such a nice person, and he's very attractive.
This is a whole conversation for after podcast, but there is a variety of Christmas commercials you just need to watch that will light up your heart.
Naimah's going to make a YouTube channel with these commercials.
I'll join in. The Zachary Levi Fan Club podcast.
But in any case, so last summer at the end, after Jim's death, Dolly waved a kitchen knife at Rowan, got fired. She comes back this season looking for a job because she's got a baby and claims to have found Jesus because that fixes everything.
That's the baby. She found the baby Jesus.
It doesn't. Isn't that the whole?
The baby's name is Shiloh. So,
That's a cute name.
in any case, so TJ, the chief, lets her come back to cooking. But lets her know she's on thin ice. Rowan goes to basically, look, let's get this over and done with. I'm not going to tiptoe around you. I'm not planning on making waves or problems for you. Don't make problems for me. We'll be fine. Dolly goes a little bit off the deep end, but it sorts itself out.
Because it's you that should have died instead of him.
Farther off the deep end, when Rowan walks into her room to have pig's blood smeared all over, and what is it, die you whore or something?
She says you whore, but she wrote something else. But either way, all of it was inappropriate. It's not okay. I'm trying to look for what.
Even if you write the nicest message in there, you're like, I hope you have a great day. It's in blood.
Pig's blood.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, she got caught in the act of doing it, right? It's not like it was there. Like she was still mid-room, like, oh!
Paintbrush with blood in hand.
Like,
Burn in hell.
burn
With
it.
an exclamation point.
Because fire.
Yeah.
It's fire. I mean, shoot. I mean, really. Contents like burn on your next jump, like burn in the forest. Why hell, though? Everybody burns in hell.
So, and we've got the building chemistry between Rowan and Gulliver, and they've kissed once at the bar, and then they kiss again at the second fire. But Rowan's very particular about no sex. No.
You don't bang where you work. I'm pretty sure it's her own words.
Yes.
She is very much grew up around smoke jumpers.
Yeah.
A woman.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, off to the side, her dad, who I've now completely cast as Rob Lowe in my mind, but her dad, Iron Man trip, is now running a flight school because he needed to retire from the life of smoke jumping. And he's built up this big business because he wants something for Rowan to walk into when she's decided she's done smoke jumping. And he's falling in love with a middle school principal with bright red curly hair. Who would we cast her as? I mean, I get a Miss Frizzle vibe, but
Okay.
His hair up, like no Miss Frizzle, but like attractive Miss Frizzle, like that third grade teacher that you.
No, who got cast for Miss Frizzle in the
Probably someone awful. I don't know who, but probably someone.
To
I
voice the
forgot
person?
about that. No, they did a new live action one, didn't they?
No, I thought they just did the cartoon one that everyone was mad at because they did a really bad job with the artistic rendering.
She looks nothing like Miss Frizzle should look like. I don't know who that person is.
For some reason, they were like, yeah, she can have a boring, dull nose. Miss Frizzle had a dope nose, guys.
Who is that woman? No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who could be Miss Frizzle?
Oh,
So what kind
they're gonna have Elizabeth Banks play Miss Frizzle.
Oh, I don't. No. She's fine for it if we're going for the cartoon.
No.
Yeah, this is fine.
No.
But
For the cartoon?
yeah,
Sure, but like
No, this is the live action.
no. I mean, like if we're
think-
if we're chasing what the cartoon character looks like, okay.
For Miss Frizzle, yes, that's okay. Not okay for this character.
no,
Yeah.
okay. But
Yeah.
I would.
So well, how this is a romance thing, right? So this is going to be that lady from Mad Men. The redhead lady from Mad Men.
Oh.
It's a romance series. It's a romance thing, guys. Come on.
Yes,
Yeah.
you are right.
Where's this lady? Wait a second.
Red from Mad Men. Her name is literally Red.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. Definitely. No.
Christina Hendricks.
That's just on point.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know
She
if that
would.
person comes off like a teacher in this regard. It's 2021. It's 2021. Anyone can look like a teacher or whatever. Anyone can be a teacher. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is not who we
as
cast in
Tripp-
media as a
Tripp
teacher.
Specifically points out they did not make teachers look like that when he was a kid.
Okay, then Christina Hendricks, apparently.
Yep.
It's hard to find a redheaded person to cast mentally because they don't.
You could also just there is dye in wigs.
Yeah. You could
That's the
always.
biggest thing. Like, you keep forgetting. Like, you.
Well, no,
Your appearance,
Naimah,
like-
what just happened? We just saw Emily Blunt in that one movie as a really bad, not good redhead.
Okay. No. Okay. So this is the problem with that. I didn't notice she was a redhead until I moved to a different scene. And then all of a sudden her hair went from looking like it was brownish Elizabeth, like your hair, to being in the sun and it was just red. So
You need like a skin tone that typically pairs with it, and it's not one that you can just slap makeup on and make happen.
well,
typically.
most actresses that we know to be redheads aren't redheads. They're blonde.
This is true.
Yeah.
pumpkin with their blonde.
Yeah, they have to have the pale skin.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having done it, you can do red hair with
Like-
the pasty white skin. If you've got the pasty white skin and the pink undertones, you can be a redhead.
Like, it looks like it's natural. I love how easily we've cast this entire book so far.
Right? It's lovely. It's lovely. But she has a proposition for him that she wants to discuss over drinks
I
and a
love
new project.
You love a what?
a forward woman who's just like, this is what's going to happen.
After the proposal, though, after she says, "Hey, I want you to teach like middle schoolers about smoke jumping," and then she's like, "Also, by the way, I'm totally hitting on you. I totally like you."
Just
Like,
it wasn't clear.
just in case it wasn't clear, it's okay if you don't like it back. I still want to do the proposal, but like, yeah,
But like, ¿por qué no los dos?
and he's just like, "Okay, I'll take you." It's so adorable.
It is great. It is great. And so that is where we leave off in the story so far. Obviously, we all know that Rowan and Gulliver are gonna have the sexy sex.
They're gonna do the horizontal monster mash.
Sexy sex.
Piece of two backs.
Yeah.
They're gonna do the two sheet tango, but
Horrible names for it. Just like no one's ever come up with a good way of referring to sex. All of them are bad.
Knocking boots was okay, I think.
Still sounds
That
bad.
one's fine.
knocking boots works.
Yeah.
Naimah's not here for this. She's not here for this. But other than that, any predictions?
I
What's gonna
can't
precipitate it?
I can't do predictions because, as like I mentioned
Why?
earlier on, I was supposed to listen to obviously the first part of this book. It's split into 3 parts. We do 3 episodes. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happened, and then I ended up just in the second part, starting from that part, listening to it going forward. I listened to the majority of the second part of the book, so I'm prepared for next week. But I know so much.
I still don't know how that happened.
I know exactly how it happened. Remember,
Confused.
in the
You're
audiobook,
gonna have to explain how that occurred.
in the audiobook, Naimah and I, bless you, Naimah and I were talking about how long it would actually be for us to have to listen to the audiobook to fit it in before the podcast today. And so I looked at it, and it's mostly split into like 30-minute chapter chunks. So it's easy to add up. But I wanted to get an exact number. So I went to the second part of the book to see how much time it said had elapsed. Yeah. And then I went back to chapter 1, but apparently tapping on chapter 1 does not select it immediately. And yeah, the second part of the book, though, however, does open up like a nice intro to a movie. So it's okay.
Okay.
So, dear listeners, because I didn't announce it at the top, this episode is through chapter 10, or the first section of the book.
Yep.
We'll be giving you the other 2 episodes later on.
I have a question for the people who actually read part 1. Well, maybe, I mean, there's fires in part 2, but so I know how forest fires work, and I know the terminology. I know what smoke jumpers do and why what they do works. Do you guys get that from this book, like what they're doing and how they're stopping the fire? Other than, of course, they do mention they put hose and they mention the drops, but do you guys know exactly how smoke jumpers specifically help fight fires?
I know already.
Yeah, like it's like I got some of it from the book and I know some of it outside of the book, but I think little tidbits in at least the first portion, or at least the parts that I picked up, were like, okay, you have like a tiny idea depending on like which teams were, like where if you were on Rowan's team and who's getting at the like what points what they're doing.
Yeah.
To fight fires. Yeah.
Okay, I was just more wondering because, like, I know the terminology, so I understand what's going on. But I was wondering if it came across to you guys whether or not you were clear on what they were doing, like forming a line or doing ditch work,
I don't think
cutting
they
down
do.
work.
I don't think they do a
What they
good
mean,
job
like
of it.
specifically, they don't, and because like specifically, she mentions that they basically start a small fire for that huge second fire, which you did not read about, Stephen, but they start a line of fire on their own, take it out, and then they describe how the fire is going to burn itself out. But that's literally how they say it. She's going to eat herself. But I was like, but people who don't know fire don't know what it means when a fire eats itself, kind of thing. And
that speaks to the purpose of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was curious, because clearly Nora Roberts, I mean, she has the money and the time to research all this stuff, and you could tell she did a lot of research. One of my favorite things that was mentioned was the sound, the bellowing that a fire makes, which is this utterly horrifying sound to ever hear, and she mentions that sound and stuff like that, and the terminology she knows very well. I was just wondering if you were understanding it, because even to me, I was like, okay, I don't know if I didn't know this, if I would get what was actually happening.
I don't think so at all.
So I'm going to be very honest. I read it kind of the way I read about the science for the moon.
Just like, okay.
I'm like,
You know what you're doing.
They're doing things. They're doing things. Skipping through. They're doing things. Get me back to the romance. They're doing things. I do have some. Obviously, all of us live on the West Coast and have for most of our lives. So fire and fire management and control have kind of always, I think, been at least on surface level knowledge to us. Mm-hmm. No, I do not understand most of the terms that they're using. I figured, yes, I understood it's going to eat it. She's going to eat herself. Not really because I understood what they were doing from the book's description, but more just the things you catch on the nightly news about the fact that, it's 100% contained and it's going to, burn itself out and all those kinds of things.
They spend more time in this book establishing the fact that everyone is fit, and the people who aren't fit, everyone calls a lard ass. They spend more time talking about that and then really doubling down and then tripling down on that than how breaking a fire or establishing a fire break works.
I'm not going to lie. So when listening to it, I think I did kind of gloss over, there has to be a 3 or 4 line just run on kind of thing where they're technical terms and kiss. That's what
I definitely went from point A to point B, and the rest of this in the middle was words. These are words.
I caught on. They were putting out a fire. I caught on. They were making fires. I caught on. There were teams and squadron and everything was in a very organized fashion. But yeah, there were some things in there that were purely above my head, but they were so far above my head I did not notice.
There you go. But Stephen, now that you've listened to the second part, solid predictions? Are we going to enjoy part 2, or does part 2 start to let us down?
No, part 2 is good. Part 2 was a great opening for me, so I can only imagine it being an even better continuation.
Excellent. Any last thoughts?
Please make this movie ass Zachary Levi, I think.
We'll put a call into Nora Roberts. We'll reach out.
I was trying to find something earlier today for Nora Roberts, and if you type in Nora Roberts into Google, one of the first 2 searches, if not the first search, is Nora Roberts real? People think she's more she's like a William Shakespeare kind of thing. Yeah. Is this just a conglomerate? No.
That, and then all of her social media is done through her personal assistant. I think personal assistant or something.
Interesting.
She does not.
She's a hologram.
Fans.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
She writes.
I'm not surprised.
She's at what? I think they said 227 this year of novel. She just sits in her house and goes.
Just.
So
she travels. She sits. She writes. She publishes 3 books a year. 3 books every single year. New.
What?
That's a lot.
I
want to
imagine
be there.
she's like a Clive Cussler, where it's like she had like a massive stroke years ago, and they just have like her left hand like tied to a pen, and it just like does it while she just lays there motionless.
That's just that's not.
She's achieving her life goal, and she is very happy, but that's how she gets that many out.
Fair enough. All right. On that lovely note, Naimah, where can people find you online?
I am on Instagram as Ema Janan and also as other places, other pages. And I'm also on Twitter as Ema Janan.
Jessica, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter as JM Bailey Writes.
And Stephen, if people want to reach out to you about the Nora Roberts conspiracy, where can they find you?
Hashtag Nora Roberts is a hologram. No, yeah. You can find me across all social media as some variation of Peppermint Gentleman. For Twitter, that's Peppermint Gent for short.
And you can find me with the rest of Geek Elite Media at Geek Elite Media and our Facebook page /Geek Elite Media. Archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts can be found on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Please remember to rate and review us on any podcatcher that you use. It helps other people find us. If you've got a couple extra dollars this summer and are looking to support somebody, we jump on over to our Patreon page. We could always use the support to put out more podcasts like this. But until next time, this is The Love of Pages reminding you to keep turning your pages and always remember to
Geek
out.
Geek out.